What's up, heavy metal and music fans? So, you know that thing you like? Well, it's overrated. Now, I know that's going to upset some people in the comments, but I'm sorry, it's overrated. And how overrated are those things you like? Well, it's time to rank those things on this cliche tier list. Alright, so Black Sabbath Paranoid. This album, I'm sorry, but it's overrated. I know that's going to upset some of you geriatrics in the comments, but I'm sorry. It's overrated. Alright, Deep Purple Machine Head. Now, this one is actually a pretty good album with stuff like Smoke on the Water, Highway Star, and the very underrated Pictures of Home. I don't think it's as overrated as Paranoid, but it's still overrated. But I'll put it in a separate overrated tier since I don't want to have too much in one tier. Metallica Master of Puppets. This is one of the best metal albums of all time. Every song is a hit single, but Ride the Lightning is better. Overrated. Now, Pink Floyd's The Wall. I would agree there's some classics on here like Comfortably Numb and Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, but I think Animals is a much better album. The Wall is overrated. Alright, now the big one that's gonna rustle some jimmies, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Firstly, Off the Wall is a much better album from beginning to end, and while there are some bops on Thriller, you can't really name any of the songs on here that aren't singles. Overrated. And now we are getting at Rihanna, Good Girl Gone Bad. Overrated as fuck. If you want some good pop music, check out Insert Artist No One Knows of Here. Yeah, definitely overrated. And now we're getting to non-musical stuff here, like vinyl records. Textbook overrated. I was born in the 80s and grew up on nu metal, so CDs are the way to go. Sorry to all you vinyl lovers, but it's just not what I particularly enjoy. So, overrated. So now, what do you think of metal shows? Well, personally, this is one of my favorite things to do, and I especially love it when big name bands can make it to my part of the country. Overrated. Now we're getting to eating out. Not that kind of eating out, get your minds out of the gutter. I'm talking about going out to eat. It may be a great way to spend time with your family, or to prove to your date that you can actually afford things, but you can get way more bang for your buck at home. It offers no real experience that you can't replicate with food at home, and you waste less gas. Overrated. Sorry, I gotta get that in the proper tier, yes, because I don't want to overload a single tier. Whoa, it looks like I got one more album on here that I forgot. Silly me. This is Ironworks by Dillinger Escape Plan. This thing is an absolute masterpiece, and they managed to combine complex simplicities into their songwriting. It has bangers from beginning to end, and it is one of my favorite albums of all time. But I'm sorry, it's just not Deftones. Overrated.
Motherfucker, I will massacre you! I will fuck you up!
Alright, now we're getting to some other garbage here. We got Barney the Dinosaur. We only got his torso here. But I'm sorry, the Teletubbies are a much better children's show and much more educational. I even prefer Blue's Clues over this stuff. Overrated. Now, bring on the pestilence jokes, brought to you by Mad Mike. Space is overrated. People talk about exploring space all the time. But have you ever explored the seas? We don't even have our own oceans mapped out. It is a lot easier to travel in space than it is to travel into the oceans. Why can't we travel into the oceans more? People want to be challenged more, right? So why don't you just travel into the oceans? Sorry, space is overrated.
No! No!
Alright, now we're getting into wrestling, which I do personally find completely overrated overall. However, I do think the most overrated wrestler of all time is Sting, without a doubt. You are just ripping off Brandon Lee's The Crow. Sorry, nothing original, overrated. And now moving on to food. Oh my god, cookie dough blizzards from Dairy Queen? Absolutely overrated. Score blizzards are better. Gabagool?
Over here.
You better believe that's fucking overrated.
Get the fuck out of here.
And now moving on to YouTube, Rich Evans, this guy is the king of overrated. He is going right up there. I do not know why people love Mad Mike's side channel, so you need to subscribe. Okay, it's the ripoff of Mystery we are Science. getting to subscribe to it. Okay, you now have we're to getting know. to
Dem
Mortal's
Mortal's
overrated. Oh my
And
god.
now moving on to
This guy is the Rich Evans. This guy we are getting to this guy is
Take his
this
damn ass
right up there and show us now. We are getting to as the Mad Mike, you are overrated. And now we are getting to our final category, which is anal sex. Now, I understand why this act is adored. People love doing this shit. Literally. But for me personally, I find this to be all over the place in terms of rhythm and pacing. You gotta take breaks at times to ask your partner if they're in pain. You can't go too fast or too slow because that could easily damage the sphincter. And last but not least, I personally think it's a mess structurally. Let's be real here, it suffers from trying to fit too much into too little. So, it is, without a doubt, all the way overrated. So that is my tier list. I am gonna change this up a little bit and put a couple of things into different tiers, just so everything is evened out properly. Look at that. Okay, there's still one that's uneven. I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna die. And that'll do it for now. Flight of Mad Mike signing off. And speaking of anal sex, I will see you in your trenches.